and I am so proud to continue the tradition that began in 1953. Why not enjoy a brandy old-fashioned in one of our bars, each with a spectacular view overlooking Mirror Lake, or just relax before or after dinner on one of our outdoor decks. Our Ishnala chefs have prepared your favorites: 24-ounce ribeye, cold water lobster tails, North Atlantic salmon, and of course, Ishnala's roast duck. Thank you for making Ishnala Wisconsin's favorite supper club, where the only thing we overlook is Mirror Lake. I'm Bob Prosser, and I want to serve you.
You only get one chance to make a first impression, and that goes double for your home listing, because that's how you're going to get the most value. By having a customized marketing plan specific to your property with professional photos, global marketing, and the built-in experience that Century 21 Benefit Realty has brought to the table since 2004. And being joined with Century 21 just makes all of the above stand out that much more. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
So how is that possible? 1.9% real estate commission? There must be something you're not telling me.
I hear that a lot. The truth is, everybody could do it, but they choose not to because folks keep paying more than they have to. I guess they just haven't heard yet that Century 21 Benefit Realty can make that 1.9% real estate commission promise on the sale of your home and stick to it. So I'd like to think that's going to make your decision easy. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Now that the game is done, it's our time to check in.
Here is a heat check for Kuzma, who blasts one through from 35 feet out. He is absolutely unconscious to start this game.
Bucks Talk starts now.
Connaughton slithers his way down the lane and lays it in with a foul. Pat Connaughton, how about a 40-piece?
And now, live from Fiserv Forum, here's Justin Garcia.
A strong close to the season for the Bucks, who win the regular season finale for the first time in well over a decade. It had been 12 seasons since the Bucks won their final game of the regular season, but they do that today behind a game that will likely forever be remembered as the Pat Connaughton game, a career-high 43 points from Connaughton. Career highs across the board, really, for the Bucks, as he had a big game, did Connaughton. Tyler Smith, another one of those intriguing guys when we talk about the importance of today, a game that didn't matter in terms of playoff seeding. It matters to put tape out there and to build on something. For a number of guys, seeing A.J. Green continue to shoot the ball very well in the minutes he played in the first half. Kyle Kuzma to knock down 5 threes in the opening quarter. And Kyle Kuzma starting to piece together a nice shooting stretch here. That's going to be an important thing for the Bucks in the playoffs. But a guy like Tyler Smith and Pete Nance especially, to put together some good tape here and start to build on some performances, especially for Smith, who remains intriguing to a team that has gotten younger over the course of this season. And he has some NBA assets. We've heard Doc Rivers say a couple of times this season, he's got an NBA shot. He's got a nose for being around the ball that, we got to continue to work on some things, but there's a lot to like with what you're seeing from Tyler Smith, and I thought you saw that on display today. So the Bucks win it in overtime and head into the playoffs with an 8-game win streak. We know it's going to be the Pacers. We don't know when the series starts. We don't know anything else about this series. We don't know if Damian Lillard is going to be back. We don't know if Jericho Sims is going to be back. But what you do know is you like the way this team is playing right now. And obviously the biggest piece is last year at this time, you did not have Giannis Antetokounmpo going into the playoffs. And that certainly changes things, to put it mildly. But even taking that out of the mix here, everything else, you like the way this team looks right now much more than things were trending last year at the time of the playoffs. 855-616-1620 is the Siding Unlimited talk and text line to join us today on this regular season finale of Bucks Talk. Are they peaking at the right time? And scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you in this matchup with Indiana Pacers? Because you get the sense there's a supreme amount of confidence from Bucks fans, and that's exactly how it was for the Indiana Pacers a season ago. So I want to open up that conversation, but also take a look at this team over the course of the last 72 games and the big differences that we've seen in where the Bucs finished the season after a disastrous start. 855-616-1620, the number to join us on the regular season finale of Bucs Talk.
This is Bucs Talk.
Brewers baseball is the sound of summer in Milwaukee. And now you can catch the Brewers on local TV for select Tuesday night games.
Curio sends it deep to left, and there she
It's
goes!
Brew Crew Tuesdays. On April 15th, the Crew take on the Detroit Tigers at 6:40 p.m.
Half swing, he went. Another strikeout for Freddie
This
Peralta.
Brew Crew Tuesday is presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. See the action on Fox 6 in Milwaukee and check your local listings for where you can watch over the air statewide on April 15th.
Look what I found.
What is it?
It's a list of the traditional and modern anniversary gifts for each year of marriage.
Sarah and I use a different list. But go ahead and tell us about yours.
The traditional gift for your first anniversary is paper, but the modern gift is a clock.
Well, our list says the first anniversary is always diamond jewelry.
What's your list called?
The People's Choice.
The traditional gift for your 6th anniversary is iron, but the modern gift is wood.
What a coincidence. For the 6th anniversary, our list says diamonds again. What do you have for the 10th anniversary, Rick?
Traditional is aluminum, modern is diamond jewelry.
Well, there you go. Our lists agree. What have you got for the 7th anniversary?
Copper and a desk set.
Nope. Diamonds again.
I'm beginning to see the wisdom of the People's Choice list.
It's good to have you on board.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Did you make up that People's Choice list, or is it real?
Well, we're people, aren't we?
Find the Kesslers nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
So it's about time you spruced up your home. Nothing major. You're not looking to spend a ton, but you are looking for something that'll give your quarters a little upgrade. You know, there are a lot of things you can do with glass. Simply beveling your mirrors can do wonders. You can mill out your wood cabinet doors and replace the center with attractive glass inserts, or customize them with unique handcrafted artistry, or maybe a theme. You could even install a new glass shower door and add some real appeal to your bathroom. They're all pretty affordable home improvements, and Les's Glass Service has been helping homeowners like you for just about longer than anyone in town. You probably don't realize how affordably we can help you reach your home's full potential, but we do, and we can show you countless options. So if it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass and mirror home decor that you've been looking for, you just can't pass on Les's Glass. Les's Glass Service, serving all of southeastern Wisconsin. Find us at lesglassservice.com.
Welcome back to Bucs Talk.
Bucs outlast the Pistons today in overtime, 140-133. They sweep the regular season series against Detroit, and they've now won 25 of the last 26 games against played between these two teams. But most importantly, they're going into the playoffs with some momentum. And, you know, Doc Rivers did say after the game, I don't want to make too much of that and overstate that, because there is essentially a week off in between the playoffs. We don't know the schedule yet. We know the Bucs won't play until at least Saturday. It could be 1 week from today. So you do have that halt in the schedule that will kind of curb some of that momentum. But this isn't just the 8-game win streak. You know, this is what this team has quietly pieced together the past couple of months. But I think you've especially seen it come to a head since, you know, early March, mid-March, when this team has been one of the better teams in the league. 855-616-1620, the number to join us today on Bucs Talk. Just simple, on a scale of 1 to 10. What is your confidence level in this series against the Indiana Pacers? Because part of it is blind loyalty and just the hatred that exists among Bucs fans against that Indiana Pacers team. But I would venture to guess most people are around a 7 or an 8, somewhere there. And you know, Doc was asked about it by Jamal Collier after the game about, hey, what's the level of confidence, or how do you guys feel, and how much different it feels this year versus last year in that series against the Pacers? And as he said, you know, we got Giannis. It's as simple as that. He's healthy. We got Giannis on the floor. We did not have that a season ago, and we think that's the biggest thing. And we've talked about it on this show a number of times. In every single series the Bucs play in the Eastern Conference, without question, arguably in any series the Bucs play in, they will have the best player on the floor. Every series. We don't know the status of Damian Lillard. We don't know the status to a lesser extent of Jericho Sims. But you are going to have the best player on the floor in every series you're in, and that does not always dictate who wins that series. I mean, you can point to the 2 losses the Bucks suffered against the Miami Heat recently in the playoffs, where you had Giannis, albeit not a fully healthy Giannis in either of those 2 in the bubble and in that first round loss. But in the Celtics series, too, where you lost in the second round, Giannis was clearly the best player in that series. Celtics had more depth, and that's what stood out. You got big performances from Al Horford. Of course, we'll never forget the career game from Grant Williams in Game 7. Jason Tatum had a huge game in Game 6, where I believe he scored 46 in this building, where the Bucks had a chance to close them out. The Bucks have had the best player in that series. It doesn't always dictate who's going to win. More often than not, it does, especially when that player is healthy. And I think that's the big level of optimism, or what leads to a big level of optimism that the Bucks have, and certainly that exists, or Bucks fans have, and certainly what exists within that locker room, with how this team has played lately, and an 8-game win streak now going into the playoffs. Here's the other thing, and I remember earlier in the year we would mention the 2-8 start to the season and what the Bucks had done from that point on. And we kind of stopped that, because I know the message within that locker room and with the team and the coaching staff was, look, those 10 games happened. It's in the past. We are a different team. We've moved forward. We're focused on what have we done since then. And what the team has done since then, I think, is probably a little surprising to a lot of people that may not have brushed up on the numbers. You go back to it was one of those first 2 games against the Cavs, where Doc Rivers was asked about teams that start the season, 2-8, or that percentage of wins in X amount of games. They seldom make the playoffs, and that's where we got the soundbite from Doc Rivers. We are going to make the playoffs. We're not concerned about that. We're going to make the playoffs. We'll be fine there. And at the time, I think a lot of people laughed at it and quoted the famous last words, and were waiting for Cold Takes Exposed to play that clip and point to the Bucks record, kind of like what we're seeing from the Phoenix Suns right now. But that's not who the Bucks have been. And if we do take a look at those first 10 games where the Bucks started 2-8, they finished the regular season now with 48 wins after winning just 2 of their first 10. So you go 46-26 over the course of your final 72 games. That is a very, very significant and large sample size. Not only that, that is, in that period, the 5th most wins in the league, matched with the New York Knicks. They have the number 10 offense in the league from that point forward, the number 9 defense in the league, and our number 10 in net rating. So in a near full season's worth of work, the Bucks have been one of the 5 best teams in the league in terms of wins. They've been in the top 10 in offensive rating, defensive rating, and net rating. Oftentimes the 3 numbers you will most frequently cite and use as a barometer for success. That's the company the Bucks have been in. And you can't undo anything from those first 10 games. Part of it was just, look, bad luck. Part of it was poor shooting. Doc talked about that at length, not only tonight or today after the game. He was asked about it before the game as well. We've heard that come up many times. Like, look, it's an answer that a lot of times people don't want to hear because it can sound like a cop-out, but it is as simple as this is a make-or-miss league. And if you're not making shots, you're not going to find a whole lot of success. That's what the Bucks were going through in those first 10 games. You look at guys like Gary Trent Jr., everybody but Taurean Prince and A.J. Green. And even in A.J.'s case, we weren't seeing quite as much of A.J. Green. That was one of the other things coming out of the start of the season was A.J. Green did not have the role he currently has with this team. Doc talked about he had a rough camp, and that kind of cost him in terms of the pecking order. Taurean Prince was the guy that was playing the most minutes. That was the only guy that was shooting the ball well. Other than that, everyone else was struggling. But you look back, and look, I know this is the ifs and buts and coulda, woulda, shoulda, but something as simple as, man, if the Bucs could have gone simply 500 in their first 10 games of the season, and you tack on 3 more wins, it's a 51-win team that is suddenly in contention for, this is one of the 3 best records in the Eastern Conference. You're right up there with the New York Knicks. And granted, you won't hold the tiebreaker, but it's going down to the final day of the regular season of the Bucs having a chance to get the 3 seed if you could have just gone 500 instead of 2-8. But nonetheless, one of the other big things we heard coming out of those first 10 games was, look, this can do one of 2 things. It can be a deterrent. It can be something we get hung up on and can't move past and you dwell on. Or this can be adversity we learn how to go through and it makes us a better team as a result. And that 2-8 start feels like a lifetime ago. Not only because of the personnel changes that we've seen, things like guys like Kevin Porter Jr., who were not a part of that 2-8 start, being on this roster, holding a significant role, and especially driving a lot of the optimism that we've seen. A.J. Green and what he started to do shooting the basketball. Kyle Kuzma wasn't a part of that. Jericho Sims wasn't a part of that. So you've moved past that in a very significant way, and the numbers back it up with where this Bucs team ranks after those first 10 games of the season. And I don't necessarily feel like that's cherry picking because it's 72 games of sample size that we're talking about here. 855-616-1620, the Siding Unlimited talk and text line to join us today on Bucs Talk as the Bucs knock off the Pistons and now head into the playoffs with a lot of momentum. When can we expect to know this first round schedule? We'll take a stab at that. And again, your level of optimism. How confident are you the Bucs are going to beat the Indiana Pacers in the first round of the playoffs? And outside of having Giannis this year and you didn't last year, what are the biggest differences in where this Bucs team currently sits headed into the playoffs and that series as a whole? We'll dig into that conversation next.
You're listening to Bucs Talk.
Do you enjoy researching sofas before you buy?
No.
Do you compare product ratings?
No way.
Are you interested in knowing everything about your new sofa?
Absolutely not. I just want the best sofa, period.
Sounds like you want the SB261 sofa from Penny Mustard.
If it's the best sofa, then yes, that's the one.
It's our #1 bestseller.
Fine.
The SB261 sofa has a classic, exquisite look.
Great.
I've never heard anybody say a negative word about it.
I'm sold.
If the SB261 sofa was in high school, it would be voted homecoming queen and king.
I'm ready to buy.
5 stars, A+, and everyone's thumbs are up.
Stop talking and take my money.
The SB261 sofa, American-made with solid wood frame, individual seat springs, unsmooshable Qualex Ultra Foam, and thousands of fabric and leather options, starting at $29.30 at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
The best versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
Slide into your neighborhood Century Food store to score the freshest produce, tastiest treats, and everything in between.
Now through Wednesday, save on 7 to 15-ounce selected varieties Rana pasta or sauce, 2 for $8. 6-count selected varieties Bay's English muffins, 2 for $6. 10 to 13-ounce selected varieties Marie Calendar bowls or small pot pies, 2 for $5. 12-ounce selected varieties Cremette egg noodles, 2 for $4.
Let's get some strawberries.
Attention shoppers. Safe.
Okay. Ooh. Pineapple fulfills every need.
While you're shopping, a drive way back, it's a gunner.
There's something goofy going on with the PA.
Need a price check and I'll take me out to the ball game.
See, what is going on?
You're hearing things. We're at Century Foods, and you can't take your mind off winning that ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes.
I'm hoping to throw out the first pitch at a Milwaukee baseball game.
Or attend batting practice.
Or hold the finish line ribbon for the racing sausages.
You don't say.
The ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes at Century Foods. Enter on Century's Facebook or Instagram by July 30th.
Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Jesus promises hope even to the criminal being crucified alongside him. This is Archbishop Jeffrey Grob. During this Jubilee year, the Holy Father has asked us to be signs of hope for others. Our brothers and sisters who are imprisoned, sick, or disabled may feel like there is very little hope for them. We are to visit them, provide care for them, and be a sign of Jesus' hope in their lives. It's Lent. Please join us at Mass.
The Round Ball Repartee returns. This is Bucks Talk.
The Pat Connaughton game here in the regular season finale. The Bucks hold off the Pistons in overtime. We'll overlook the fact that they gave up an 8-point lead in the final 15 seconds. The Bucks win to give them an 8-game win streak headed into the playoffs. Their longest win streak of the season, and the longest win streak they've had since that 16-game win streak back in the 2022-23 season that saw the Bucks wrap up the number 1 seed before ultimately losing to the Miami Heat in the first round of the playoffs. 855-616-1620, the Siding Unlimited talk and text line to join us today on Bucks Talk. Let's head to the phone lines and get your thoughts, your level of optimism. How confident are you in this first-round matchup with the Indiana Pacers? Let's start with Dan in McWanago.
Hey, Justin, how's it going?
Good, go ahead.
On the first question, I'm normally a pretty pessimistic guy, so I would say it's about 50-50 for me. I'm like 50% like, yeah, the Bucks can do it, but 50% it's the Pacers. They always give the Bucks problems on that part. So,
okay. Any other thoughts on the series or what we saw today?
So I believe that in the series, the Bucks are gonna win because they don't have Damian Lillard. I believe that they are a better team without him, just because Giannis is so much more dangerous without him, because there's always gonna at least be one person open on the thing, and it just frees up the offense so much more without Dame.
Well, it's interesting. Thanks for the call, Dan. I'm not quite willing to go that far that they're a better team without Damian Lillard. We've seen them do things differently, and I think that's the important part if Damian Lillard does, in fact, return. And it's not inside information or anything, but I do know there has been, we've heard optimistic and hopeful. I know it's increased in the past couple of days. The optimism surrounding Damian Lillard's potential return, maybe not necessarily for Game 1 or even the first-round series, but that it exists for the postseason. I think the big thing is just how do the Bucks, in a sense, pivot or change up what they've done offensively. They found an incredible amount of efficiency. Even today, the guys that you were playing without to finish the game with the efficiency numbers that the Bucks have, which has become a trend these past couple of weeks now, that's going to be the big thing, is how frequently do you play with Damian Lillard off the ball and just say, look, this has worked with Giannis as the guy that's running things, and now you have Damian Lillard as a lethal shooter. That's one of those outlet options for Giannis. I think that's the big thing to monitor. There are moments, too, where you're going to say, hey, I wish we had Damian Lillard out there, when you need a guy to knock down free throws, when you need a guy that can knock down those shots in the clutch. So I don't think I can say they're a better team without him, but it has, kind of like Doc said, silver linings. The silver lining is it has forced you to play a different way, and you found how that works. So now, how do you kind of meld the two together if and when Damian Lillard does, in fact, return for the postseason? 855-616-1620, the number to join us today. Let's squeeze in one more call here. Stephen Waukesha, you're up next.
Well, hello there. I guess I can't agree with the last caller. How can you say you're better without a player that's going to probably be in the Hall of Fame?
One of the 75 best players of all time.
Whatever. Okay. So, longtime Bucks fan, 65 years old, so I bet I remember the 71 championship, remember the last championship. I think that we owe a little something to the Pacers because all this loudmouth talking, and I love Therese Halliburton. I watched him in high school. I followed him at Oshkosh North. I'm just sick of him and his mouth, and I think we got to pay back for last year. And I love being the underdog because I think a lot of people are really – you're just given those stats over the last 72 games. I mean, I love being the underdog. Like always, the Badgers are normally, when they're the underdog, they do really well. I think that what's really happened or what's helped us is we've had to use a lot of other people because we haven't had Dame and we haven't had Giannis both at the same time. But I think if they can work it out, like you said now, the way they've been playing with Giannis running the show, Dame is just going to make us more lethal. And with Kevin Porter Jr., and now we got Bobby back, and everybody playing well, I think the confidence level has to be 100%. I give the Bucks. I'm going 85-15 Bucks.
Okay. How many games do you think they'll win the series in?
6.
Yeah,
we got to steal one of the first two, though. We got to get one of the first two to get the home court advantage.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Steve, and I agree on everything you raised. I mean, yeah, they're not a better team without Damian Lillard. You can find better ways to play, but Damian Lillard's one of the 75 greatest players of all time. Taking him off does not make you a better team. It's been a good thing to discover these things with Kevin Porter Jr. and different ways to attack offensively, and now, again, it's still if you can get Damian Lillard back for the playoffs, how you kind of weave that in together with this group and how they've been playing here these past couple of weeks. 855-616-1620, the number to join us today on Bucks Talk as Bucks wrap up the season with a win, head into Indianapolis this weekend to begin the playoffs with the Pacers. We'll try to take a stab at when we may see that series begin and everything we do know about the playoffs coming up after this on Bucks Talk.
The Hardwood Homilies continue after this. This is Bucks Talk.
Heart disease won't stop us. Diabetes, allergies, cancer. Nothing will keep the Froedtert and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network from pushing Wisconsin ahead. We're constantly raising the bar for medical excellence and providing more ways to receive it, so you have it for all your health needs, big and small. Let's push ahead, and we'll make life here as great as it can be. Visit Froedtert.com to find out how.
There's an amazing supper club in Wisconsin Dells, Ish Nala. Nestled among the pines and perched above the sandstone bluffs of Mirror Lake. The beauty, the history, the service, the food, the fun. Hi, this is Bob Prosser, owner of Ishnala Supper Club in Wisconsin Dells. I've been a part of Ishnala since 1973, and I am so proud to continue the tradition that began in 1953. Why not enjoy a brandy old-fashioned in one of our bars, each with a spectacular view overlooking Mirror Lake, or just relax before or after dinner on one of our outdoor decks. Our Ishnala chefs have prepared your favorites: 24-ounce ribeye, cold water lobster tails, North Atlantic salmon, and of course, Ishnala's roast duck. Thank you for making Ishnala Wisconsin's favorite supper club, where the only thing we overlook is Mirror Lake. I'm Bob Prosser, and I want to serve you.
You only get one chance to make a first impression, and that goes double for your home listing, because that's how you're going to get the most value. By having a customized marketing plan specific to your property with professional photos, global marketing, and the built-in experience that Century 21 Benefit Realty has brought to the table since 2004. And being joined with Century 21 just makes all of the above stand out that much more. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
So how is that possible? 1.9% real estate commission? There must be something you're not telling me.
I hear that a lot. The truth is, everybody could do it, but they choose not to because folks keep paying more than they have to. I guess they just haven't heard yet that Century 21 Benefit Realty can make that 1.9% real estate commission promise on the sale of your home and stick to it. So I'd like to think that's going to make your decision easy. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
This is Bucks Talk.
Those numbers I mentioned before, after the 2-8 start, so 72 games worth of a sample size, the Bucks finished the season in the top 10 in offense, defense, and net rating. 10th in offense, 9th in defense, 10th in net rating. And those are the areas you often cite and look at. You know, we mentioned it on this show quite a bit as well. you got to finish in the top 10 in offense and defense. The Bucs did that the final 72 games of the season. Top 10 in net rating, in what that usually dictates about how you're winning games and the quality of your wins. The Bucs have been there in the last 72 games of the season. If you went even 4-6 in those first 10 games instead of 2-8, you're the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference, and then you're drawing this Pistons team once again. So I think that's one of the big things you point to in the optimism surrounding this team going into the postseason. Obviously, having Giannis healthy. I mean, think back to that, too. The last time we saw a fully healthy Giannis in the playoffs was that second-round series against the Boston Celtics, where Giannis did not have Chris Middleton with him, where you asked Drew Holiday to take on a little more than he really should have offensively. You had Giannis in the first round against the Heat in that loss. But you look at, number one, the time Giannis missed in that series and the fact that he wasn't fully healthy after that stupid charge that Kevin Love tried to draw on him in Game 1 of that series, and how much the roster has changed. I mean, the last time we saw Giannis in a playoff series, there's only 3 players that remain on this Bucs roster right now that played with him in that series. Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, and Pat Connaughton. So first and foremost, you get to see Giannis in the playoffs, and I think that's what sparks a ton of the optimism that exists surrounding this team. You were reminded of it during the NBA Cup, too, when you saw those competitive games in a tournament format and how Giannis played in those, and thought, man, this is what it's like to see Giannis in these big stakes again. I forgot what this was like, and you're going to get that starting this weekend. You went 3-4 against Indiana in the regular season. I don't want to take too much away from that, because just as we mentioned what the Bucs have done after the first 10 games of the regular season, Pacers were struggling quite a bit earlier in this season as well. Pacers at one point were 5 games below 500. It's been since January 1st that the Indiana Pacers have been a much different team. When the Bucs beat them on New Year's Eve in an epic collapse by the Pacers, they dropped to 16-18 on the season. 2 of your wins came before January 1st, when the Pacers were not all that good. You, quite frankly, were still figuring things out. You, of course, had that loss on the 4-point play by Halliburton in Indiana. So I think it's really just the last 2 games that you would point to, and they split those 2 games. So you got Giannis, you got a much different team around him as well, and that's the other big piece, to me, of the optimism. The vibes around this team, how they've played in the lead up to the playoffs, much different from where it was a year ago. And again, not having Giannis down the stretch in the regular season or for that series, that's a big piece of that, of how you looked and what it felt like around this team. But it's extended beyond that when you look at simple things like the roster construction. So I do want to get into that as we start to preview this one a little bit more and try to figure out when are we going to know when this series is, and when do we think is the best guess of when the Bucs and Pacers could tip things off either Saturday or Sunday. We'll take a look at that coming up after this on Bucs Talk.
This is Bucs Talk.
Hey, Gina, did you hear about the draft?
Wayne, there's no draft at Pella.
There's definitely a draft. Right, Wildy? Yeah, everybody's talking about it.
Pella windows are constructed of the highest quality. No drafts.
Yeah, sure. Okay. No drafts. Got it. There's more than one draft?
No, but Pella should be everyone's #1 pick, because right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get no interest financing options or free glass upgrades when you order by April 30th. Our talented designers and installers can match your unique home through dramatic sizes, custom colors, finishes, profiles, product types, and more, along with durable and distinguished details. All Pella products stand the test of time, which is why we confidently offer the best wood warranty in the industry.
So where is the draft?
Coon. Get no interest financing options or free glass upgrades at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. Ends 4/30/2025.
It's time for you and that diamond to come alive again.
At the 4th annual Spring Ring Cleaning at Kessler's.
Even if you have a good ultrasonic jewelry cleaner, it can't match the pressurized steam cleaning we do at Kessler's.
Let us steam clean and polish your engagement ring.
For free.
I'm Joe Gerke, president of Kessler's, and we want to strip away all the soap scum that is making your diamond look dull.
For free. And while we're doing it, we'll inspect the prongs on your ring to make sure your diamond isn't about to fall out.
It's the 4th annual Spring Ring Cleaning at Kessler's.
Here's another idea. Bring us anything you own that needs to be repaired,
and we'll give you a price to make it like new again.
And if you have some old jewelry you don't wear anymore,
we can make something unique and wonderful out of it.
Unique in all the world.
Welcome to Kessler's.
To find the Kessler's nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Vince Vitrano here for Connect Chiropractic. Get your aches and pains under control. But not only that, regular care with Connect Chiro can bring back your energy. A lot of folks start with headaches, back pain, and shoulder pain. How quickly you see results varies from person to person, but time and repetition are the key to staying on track. No twisting, no cracking, no popping. Connect Chiro docs use a special tool for all your adjustments, targeted results, and a gentler experience. Check out the new location in Oak Creek or get started at GoConnectChiro.com.
Welcome back to Bucks Talk.
I'm on top of the world. And on to the playoffs for the Bucks for the second consecutive year. It'll be against the Indiana Pacers in the first round of the playoffs. And look, you got Giannis. That changes a lot of things. You did not have him in that series last year. But even looking at the rotations for the Bucks and the players you're going to be leaning on in the playoffs, we don't know if you'll have Damian Lillard. So, unfortunately, this is a third consecutive postseason where health comes into play for the Bucks. But looking back at that first-round series a year ago, you didn't have Giannis. You had Dame. Your starting lineup for those games was Dame and Pat Beverly in the backcourt. Chris Middleton, Bobby Portis, and Brook Lopez. That was your starting lineup. An older group, one that's not quite as athletic, not one that's going to get out and look to run, one that had some defensive issues. For your bench, it was Pat Connaughton, Malik Beasley, and Jay Crowder playing heavy minutes. A.J. Green was a part of your second unit. A.J. Green didn't play heavy minutes in that series last year. That, to me, is the big thing here, is how that team was constructed a year ago. And yes, health was a big part of it. But how that team was constructed a year ago, you could really only play one way. And that one way, that one style of play, was not going to set you up for success in a series against the Indiana Pacers. A.J. Green, in that series, in those 6 games, A.J. Green played 67 minutes. Andre Jackson Jr. played 60 minutes. You had Danilo Gallinari playing 37 minutes in that series. So it's a much different Bucks group in this series than it was a season ago when you think about the youth injection, the defense, and again, how this team has played over the course of the last 72 games. Now, when will they play? All we know is it's going to be either Saturday or Sunday. We don't know anything beyond that. What we do know in terms of schedule is we're going to have the first 2 play-in tournament games on Tuesday. So that is the 7th seed versus the 8th seed. So in the case of the Eastern Conference, that is going to be the Orlando Magic hosting the Atlanta Hawks on Tuesday. The winner of that game moves on to play the Boston Celtics in the first round. So the winner is the 7th seed. You'll have the Western Conference 7 versus 8 matchup Tuesday night as well. We don't know who those teams are because everything is up in the air in the West. And then on Wednesday, you're going to have the Chicago Bulls hosting the Miami Heat. And you're going to have, we think, the Sacramento Kings hosting the Dallas Mavericks. We know it's going to be Kings and Mavericks in that matchup. It's likely going to be Wednesday night after that second game wraps that we get the schedule for the Bucks and the Indiana Pacers. Given it's the second consecutive year between these two teams, given that it is a budding rivalry here that has been building and simmering over the course of not only last year with those 5 matchups, this year, the way that game ended in Indy earlier this year as well, I do think this is going to be a marquee game that the league is going to try to draw attention to the Bucks and the Pacers for the second straight year, especially since Giannis is back. So my early hunch is that this could be a Saturday night game or in that Sunday afternoon window. But again, we expect to know Wednesday nights after the Western Conference play-in tournament game wraps. So that's what we look forward to. Bucks will return to the floor next weekend in the playoffs against the Indiana Pacers. So stay tuned to socials for the schedule and tip times. But we will talk to you this weekend with some playoff basketball on Bucks Talk.
Filet mignon isn't as cheap as chopped steak. But while they last, you can buy high-end Beauty Rest Black and Sealy Posturepedic mattresses for nowhere near high-end prices. Hassellus Mattress is clearing out a handful of premium floor models, like a Beauty Rest Black LX Hybrid was $3,599, but now it's just $971. Only a few remain, and they will sell out. Find an employee-free showroom near you at hassellus.com.
Save big money on your next project now at Menards. Don't let an outdated garage door define your home. Revamp your home's appearance with a new Ideal Garage Door.